Hey, it's Andrew Morgan, host of the Nomcast, the Netflix original movie podcast. Each week we preview and review the biggest Netflix original movies with special guests from the film industry, the music industry, comedians, and of course our fellow critics and podcasters. The Nomcast is available on nomcastpod.com or wherever you get your podcasts, on the socials at nomcastpod, and is a part of the Forgotten Entertainment family.
Hi, I'm Mike.
And I'm Elise,
Host of Crackin' One Open with Mike and Elise.
a podcast about brews, news, and pop culture reviews.
Every Friday, we choose a new craft beer from a different brewery and talk about
The history of the beer,
what's in it,
how it was made,
the history of the brewery.
along with tasting notes and more fun facts.
After that, come chill with us as we bring you the latest in pop culture news and reviews.
So check out Kraken When Open, part of the Forgotten Entertainment family.
Ladies and gentlemen, please notice that exits are conveniently located at the front and rear of this auditorium. When leaving the theater, we suggest that the exit at the front of the auditorium will allow you easier access to the parking areas. Thank you.
Forgotten Cinema is now looking for a new co-host to join myself, Mike Field, because Mike Butler's a bitch. Croupier Revenge is coming. This is my town. You know,
Which is, I would love to do a James Bond podcast.
I'll do it right now. Cancel the other podcast.
You son of a... What about all these women? These are all women, beautiful women. Where are the regular women? And he's like, it's Los Angeles.
Is this the movie that's going to end the show? It's going to end the podcast? Because this movie, like, I cannot tell people to watch this movie. Like, I will not. This movie is not good.
You get the hell off this podcast.
Let's take it to the limit one more time.
Hello, I'm Mike Butler.
And I'm Mike Field.
And you're listening to the Forgotten Cinema Podcast, Season 9, the season of summer. Each episode this season, we're highlighting a film that had a coveted summer release date, but for a variety of reasons was forgotten or straight up ignored by audiences. Whether it was because it was pitted against a tentpole film or it was given a limited release run to fill out a studio schedule. We'll discuss what we love about the movie or maybe don't love about it, but we'll always recommend you revisit it. If you enjoy our podcast, we want to hear from you. We're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Find us. Our podcast is available on all platforms with a backlog of 100 episodes for your listening pleasure.
Nice. Too many episodes. Not enough episodes.
Enough
I was just going to say. What's going on?
Nothing. My car broke down. I don't know what happened.
Whoa. Segue. So today we're doing the 1997 thriller / crime. Crime is a little bit of a stretch there. Breakdown. So on their, let me let you know what it's about real quick. On their cross-country drive, a married couple, Jeff and Amy Taylor, experience car trouble after an accident. Stranded in the New Mexico desert, the two catch a break when a passing truck driver, Red Bar, offers to drive Amy to a nearby cafe to call for help. Meanwhile, Jeff is able to fix the car and make his way to the cafe, only to find his wife missing and Barr claiming ignorance. Jeff then begins a frenzied search for Amy. This is Breakdown.
Cue Tantrix Breakdown.
I know the breakdown.
So you had never seen this movie, right?
I think I've heard of it, but
Okay.
I really have never seen it.
I saw this movie in the theater, so I'm gonna tell you right now, I actually enjoyed this movie when I watched it in the theater.
I'm surprised this seems like a movie my parents would have rented like on a Friday night. I don't understand why I haven't seen this.
Well, it is only 93 minutes long, so it is a nice like movie night kind of movie.
Exactly, yeah.
So Breakdown, as I said, has a runtime of 93 minutes. It's rated R. Production budget of $36 million. Was released on May 2nd, 1997. That is the beginning of the summer season, everybody. That is why that counts.
Oh, now it is March.
Is it March?
I liked in the newest Simpsons episode, which is now a really old Simpsons episode with J.J. Abrams.
Okay.
I just watched it yesterday. J.J. Abrams talked about releasing his new movie on the new 4th of July, March 30th.
Yeah, that seems about right. Opening weekend, it did $12 million. Domestic, 50. Worldwide, 50. So it made back its budget and some more. Production company was Dino De Laurentiis Company and Spelling Films, and was distributed by Paramount Pictures. So on the 2nd of May in 1997, it went up against Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery. So you know why it didn't do well on its opening weekend. Also came up against Warriors of Virtue, and also in a limited release, Truth or Consequences, New Mexico, or NM, and the movie Ripe. The week after, May 9th, you had The Fifth Element. Father's Day in a limited release Nowhere, the Gregor Rocky film. And then on April 25th, which was the week before, you had Volcano. Look, everybody's the same. And Romy and Michelle's High School Reunion, which is a movie we did probably last season.
Last season, yeah.
Yep. And then the limited release Shiloh. So it's it got Austin Powers pretty much destroyed everybody.
I think that's what we
that
talked about during the Romy and Michelle thing. Too.
Yeah, exactly. Because those movies sounded familiar. You obviously listened to Romy and Michelle. So this one was directed by Jonathan Mostow, a Connecticut native. He is known for U-571, another good movie, Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines, and The Hunter's Prayer more recently. He also has a story credit and screenplay credit for this movie. He's done the story for House at the End of the Street and the 1985 episode, I believe, for the 1985 show of Fright Show.
Yes, that was his first thing.
Yeah.
Plus, he wrote U-571 as his other.
He wrote that. Yeah, no, a lot of I don't think Terminator he wrote.
He did not. He just directed.
A lot of the stuff that he's done, he's written. Agreed. This also has a second screenplay credit for Sam Montgomery, who has done more notably the TV show 24. Unforgettable is also a TV show, and U-571, like we just said. Cinematography by Douglas Milsom, who was a lighting cameraman for Full Metal Jacket. He also was a cinematographer for If Looks Could Kill, the Richard Grieco movie, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, and Body of Evidence, the William Dafoe and Madonna Skinamax movie. Have you ever seen that?
No.
I remember watching I'm gonna see Madonna. Oh, it's like this big sexual movie. Oh my god! And then it's just Willem Dafoe getting wax all over his chest. And I'm just like, what is this? Composer was Basil Polidorus. He has done RoboCop, Hunt for October, and Conan the Barbarian. He passed away in 2006. Edited by Derek Bretchen and Kevin Stitt. Bretchen has passed away actually in 2009, but he has edited Stargate, the movie, not the TV show, Cutthroat Island, and Deep Blue Sea. Kevin Stitt has done Nick of Time, Executive Decision, Payback, X-Men, and the movie 42, amongst others. Produced by Dino De Laurentiis and Martha De Laurentiis. Mr. De Laurentiis had won an Oscar for producing the movie La Strada, which was won best foreign film, I believe. He also has done Dune, Flash Gordon, Firestarter. He's done a lot. Martha has done Hannibal, the TV show. Well done. Ooh. Maximum Drive and Red Dragon. The Brett Ratner Red Dragon one, the one that Calgary finds.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. But the Hannibal, the TV show, we're all on board with that, so we're good. So you had Kurt Russell as Jeff, the husband, if you will. He is, I don't know, for those who don't know who Kurt Russell is, he is in The Thing, Escape from New York, Backdraft, Captain Ron, to name a few. JT Walsh as Red Bar. He is in Pleasantville, Sling Blade, Needful Things. I recommend the extended director's cut of Needful Things to the TV version because it's much better. And he was also in, what movie did we cover with him in?
The Negotiator, Red Rock West, and The Last Seduction. Wow, we've done a lot of JT Walsh.
Big time JT Walsh fans over here. Kathleen Quinlan is Amy. That is the wife that is kidnapped in this movie. She was nominated for an Oscar for her role in Apollo 13. She's also in The Doors and the 2006 version of The Hills Have Eyes. MC Gainey is Earl. You may recognize him from Dukes of Hazzard, the 2005 Dukes of Hazzard movie. He's also in Con Air and Leap of Faith. Jack Noseworthy as Billy. We covered a movie that Jack Noseworthy was in already, The Trigger Effect. He also did Event Horizon and the movie Surrogates. I believe Surrogates was also
That's a Mostow directed movie.
Yes. Rex Lynn as Sheriff Boyd. You may know him from the TV show CSI Miami or one season of Better Call Saul, I believe. He's also in Django Unchained. And then finally, you just had a small credit for Jack McGee, who's the bartender. If you look familiar, you've seen him in Moneyball, Backdraft, and The Fighter. He's in a lot of he's in a lot of he's a cop or he's a firefighter or something like that.
He's an Irish Boston guy in everything you've seen.
Yeah. The Fighter doesn't get much Boston-y than that.
Oh yeah, no, The Fighter is that or what's the Scorsese movie?
Oh, The Departed.
The Departed. That or The Departed are pretty much as Boston as you get.
Yes. All right, so like I said, I had seen this movie already, and I already look upon it favorably. Butler has not seen it, so now we will find out. I will find out along with you what Mr. Butler thought of this movie. Mike, take it away.
What do you think I thought of this movie?
I think you liked it.
I did like it.
Usually before we start, you have a couple cracks here and there if you didn't like a movie. And I actually like the fact that I don't
tell you.
Lately, the last two movies we've done, and then probably more recently, I like us not talking about the movie until we sit down.
That's why I haven't mentioned anything, because Group 8 was fun that you didn't know what I thought about it and stuff like that. It's more fun, I think, when you get the reaction right away.
Yeah. So I guess what was your biggest thing about it, or what you like the most? Or
Here's what I like the most. So many of my notes are all caps, yelling at Kurt Russell for his decisions in the movie, or like cheering him on. Like, this is not a good place. Leave. Or never let your wife in with the trucker. Or hit him, Kurt. Hit him good.
One of my favorite lines in the movie when he's got Earl in the truck and he's like, "Fuck you." He's like, "No, fuck you," and he hits him with a gun. Yes. And then at the end when JT Walsh Red tries to talk, he's like, "You better," and he just kicks him in the face.
Oh, yep.
I'm like, "Yes, shut up." So yeah, but so go ahead, tell me what you liked.
I enjoyed that it really is pretty quick. Like, you get a little bit of Kurt with his wife, and then it just immediately she's lost. Jeff is panicky. He doesn't know what's going on. And then pretty quickly it becomes, where's my wife? This JT Walsh's character Red doesn't pretend he's somebody else.
Which is so, it's just like, it's funny because I'm trying to, like, when you think about movies like these movies, that's never the tactic that's taken.
No, it's such an interesting and creepy and just, holy crap.
Straight up denies
that was me. Nope. And what's the cop gonna say? Like, there's really no, and I'm like, I can't say the cop was bad or he's not doing it. He checked the truck. He did not believe Kurt Russell, but like, at what point do you go, all right, I gotta let him go because he's saying it's not and there's no evidence.
Right.
And you're just watching the screen with like, no, this is the same dude. Like, the whole time I'm watching, I'm like, is this just a creepy tactic or does he have a twin? I was like, no, because he's wearing the exact same friggin' clothes. He's just lying.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, that's such like an interesting twist. And it's so creepy.
Yeah, I guess if you wanted to get nitpicky, you could sit there when he's in the sheriff's office or in the sheriff's stations, he's looking at the board and got all the missing people. You would think that the sheriff would be clued into the fact that a lot of people go missing. But, I think you can go the other route and be like, a lot of people do go missing when on the stretch, but it's very difficult to figure out why. I mean, it's very terrifying to drive and there's nothing around you but desert.
Oh no,
like,
absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, what happens if your car does does break down? It's very, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, maybe because we don't experience that. We've never really driven like that.
I drive down to Florida each time. And so like some of the stuff, like Elise plays it pretty fast and loose when we go to like some of the creepier gas stations. And I'm like, get in the car, just get in the freaking car. I want to stretch my legs. You can stretch your legs when we get to a gas station that has lights and it's daylight. Get the fuck back in the car. This is not for you to be. I will go get the gas. They aren't going to kidnap me. Get back in the car. So the whole time I'm watching this, that's all I'm thinking of is the trips down to Florida where Elise is like, everything's fine. And I'm like, no, it's not. Because this is the exact situation that I'm waiting for. Like, stop. But now we have cell phones that work now.
True, but I don't know. Like, again, I don't know what the signal is like out there. Like, maybe in the middle of the desert, you're seeing like cell phone towers every 20 feet or something like that.
Maybe
I don't
nowadays,
know.
Who knows?
But it's still really, really scary. Like I think what adds to this movie, and I'm gonna bring it up because I don't think it gets brought up enough. And I think I've said this before about Kurt Russell, is that he's always good in everything he's in.
Oh, absolutely.
And I've never watched a movie where, even if it's not a good movie, where I've had a problem with Kurt Russell and his performance. He is just always, there's such a great ease with his acting, and especially in this movie, like there's no issue. Like, you immediately root for Jeff. He's not, you know what I mean?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
He doesn't play it ridiculous. He's not an action star character, although he can be an action star, but he can also play an everyman, which I think is really interesting because he's a child actor. And a lot of child actors always seem like they can never play the everyman character, where it's very rare that you believe that they're an everyman. And I think he does it very well.
Well, I don't know too much about, I know that he's a child actor. I don't know too much about his upbringing. Like I would look that up. But
like what his parent, like,
well, like a lot of child actors grow up in Hollywood,
wealthy, not attached to the real world.
Yeah, and that's not a real world existence. I'm sorry, but it's not. I'm going to throw that out there. I mean, it doesn't mean you're bad people, but you are living in a weirdo bubble world that does not exist anywhere else in this life. And some people get, they don't know how the quote unquote real world is. Don't know how to like cut your grass or take, you know what I mean? Like, do stuff that we all have to worry about. Yeah. But he is somebody that when you watch him, you're just like, I can absolutely believe that I'd be driving down my street and he's doing work on his house or something like that. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Like, you can buy that.
But then I can also believe him like as, is he Tango or Cash? I can never remember.
Oh, you're killing me. I don't remember either. I think he's Cash. No. you know what? I'm looking this up because I don't want some people yelling at me.
He might be Tango because Cash would be Sylvester Stallone because he's rich, right?
That's why they called him
rich.
Cash.
That'd be really on the nose, but that whole
Oh, he is Cash. Yes, he's Gabe Cash.
He's Cash.
Stallone is Ray Tango.
All right, that makes more sense. I guess
So
the rich guy's not the Cash. But so when he's Cash, you totally believe him as that character. You believe him as the Universal Soldier. You believe him in these more action-packed like hero roles, but you also believe him as Santa Claus. He's any role you give
Christmas
him, like,
Chronicles.
yeah, he's really good at Santa.
Well, to your point about Universal Soldier, Universal Soldier could have easily been basically Universal Soldier, the first one, could be like what all the other sequels are after it.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's not because he's really good in it. And I think he elevates the writing, he elevates the story. And he's probably the reason why there were 3 or 4 sequels of the Universal Soldier after the fact, because the first one did so well. So, you know, one of the things in this movie that I'm curious if, not to jump off the we all love Kurt Russell bandwagon, but I'm curious if you kind of felt this too. There's no internal conflict in this movie in terms of the character of the protagonist and Jeff, where we meet him and he's meek. He backs away because he really doesn't back away from Earl's character when Earl's like, we would all do the same thing. Hey man, I don't want any problems, whatever.
Exactly. He's making rational decisions.
Right. And so the plot is extremely it's all external. It's all happening to him.
Right.
And that is one way to tell the story, but it's also when you tell a story that way, you run the risk of telling a empty story. And maybe because it's 90 minutes long, did that affect you in any way? Did you need to know more about Jeff and his, like, if he needed to have an internal struggle or an internal conflict?
No,
Okay.
The movie moves. I like that him and his wife get along. They're not like, they're like every couple. Like they had a little small argument, but it wasn't a big argument. And for the most part, they were happy up until she disappeared.
Yeah.
I don't need all this different mumbo jumbo. I don't need anything. This movie is about what this movie is: getting your wife and the fear of losing her and getting kidnapped and being out in the, it could happen to you kind of a thing. The only thing I was curious about what his job was, which I guess they had in the script and they took it out. He's a wartime photographer.
Right. So yeah, the original opening actually had the character of Jeff in some war-torn area, and he was a photographer, and he causes the death of a woman. He blames himself for the death of a woman, and that's why he quits. He quits the job freelancing, and that's why he's taking this new job traveling to San Diego. So that was the original opening of the movie. It doesn't fit because
no, not at all.
Yeah.
It makes him less of an everyman.
Yes, agreed. Like, you just need to know that they're on a trip. He's
moving to San Diego.
Exactly. That's all you need to know in terms of this movie. These people are like I said, everyday people taking a trip, and they get caught up with this group of people. Now, originally, I didn't realize I didn't remember when I first watched this movie that the intent of Red was to get Jeff in the cab with them.
So they can go on both.
Right. I didn't realize that. I just thought they took his wife. I totally kind of forgot or blacked out the subplot of we steal their car, we steal their money, like that's all we do. I just I didn't even dawn on me.
Well, even the way I was looking at it was they were looking at kidnapping women.
Right.
So when Red takes her, I'm like, all right, they want the wife, obviously, for
like they're gonna ransom her
and sell her
or whatever. Yeah.
But when he does ask, isn't your husband coming? Like, I was like, well, that's dumb. You run the risk of what if he convinces him to come? But then later on, when you learn it's not the people they want, it's the stuff.
Right.
Then it's like, oh, okay.
But begs the question, why do you leave? Like, so at the end of the movie, he gets into the barn and all the people's stuff is still there. Like, what are you doing with this? So I wanted to ask you,
eBay.
I wanted to ask you this about Red. Once you kind of pull, like at some point in all these type of movies, when you have a character that's the bad guy or the baddie, and you don't really know a lot about them, once you kind of pull that curtain aside and then you kind of see who they really are, do you think there needs to be a level of like, there's no way Jeff can overcome that? Because Red is not really a character once you meet him that you really are that fearful that Jeff will not get out of this. Because, you know what I mean? It's what we joked about how he kicks him in the face, and
right.
They're in the kitchen and he comes in with the gun. And I got the impression that Red is it's not a well thought out, put together, I guess, syndicate, if you will, or a group of bad guys. It's just kind of like
a bunch of truckers who had an idea. And
right.
Yeah, it just works
Did that bother you at all? That kind of?
No, it works better because if they become like this weird, crazy syndicate, again, it heightens your world into a different kind of genre, or not genre, but a different kind. It's not as it can happen to you, because that's their whole tagline is it can happen to you. And
why are you saying it like you're saying it like Keanu Reeves?
I'm trying to say it. Oh, it's just the 90s.
Okay, that's fine.
But if you keep them as truckers and you just keep them as everyday guys who are just doing this terrible thing, even if they are a little idiot, they're idiots about it. They're still dangerous idiots.
Especially the really big guy that I guess is just charged. The big. Oh, yeah. That's charged with just driving the Icebox truck around to put the car in.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering like what happens to the car. Like I noticed all the license plates when they go up top.
Yeah.
When he goes to the barn, he notices all the license plates, but I'm curious what they do with the car.
Burn them out, put them in the desert. Who knows?
Guess I don't know. Yeah, I'm curious what happens there. I had a lot of questions in terms of what is this operation like? What really happens in this operation?
I think you're overthinking.
No. I'm not. I'm not saying that bothers me in any way. I like the movie the way it is, and I'm just questions pop up. Just like I'm just curious as to like how long they've been doing it. How is the wife this oblivious to the fact that they've been doing this? Yeah, stuff like that. That's all. One of the other things that I had not really remembered was the stunt work. So especially when Jeff's character runs underneath the truck and has to climb on the outside of the
Indiana
truck.
Jones, is it? Yeah.
Right. That's pretty good.
No, that is good. That's really cool.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that, the gun gets lost. It just falls out of his back because so often that gun is like magical once you put it in your back pocket. Like it's never going to fall out.
Right.
But his does when he, his feet start touching the ground. That's definitely a stuntman's feet, like dragging on the ground. That truck's going pretty fast. The other thing I like is when we pull up to the barn on the truck, you don't see Kurt Russell anymore, even though he's sitting in the back of the truck when you last see him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh man, that's editing mistake, man. They couldn't just put a stunt guy in there. And then you find out he's in the horn of the top of the truck. And I'm like, all right. Good. I wonder if that was added because they were like, shit, we don't have him.
Well, at some point he'd have to get up there because there's no
hide,
way. Yeah, there's no way that he can sit right behind the cab
and not get noticed.
Yeah. I mean, that's the first thing I thought of. Like someone's gonna see him.
The one thing we were talking about like how the wife was oblivious. I don't know if I liked adding Red's family to it. I don't know if that added much to it other than maybe the tension in the kitchen at that one point.
Yeah,
I think that gets solved pretty quick.
I mean, you have to go, if you can go the other route where it's just Red by himself, but then that calls attention to the Red character in terms of how come everyone doesn't else notice that this guy's a creepo kind of thing. I think it's like a family man type thing. So I don't, I think it's fine. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I think that's fine. And we're talking about Red's family. The original script actually had Red talking to Amy at the gas station in the beginning. And then if you notice that when they're at the gas station, the truck's in the background.
Yep.
My question to that was, I never still understood how they unhooked the stuff underneath the Jeep, how the Jeep kind of craps out towards the end.
Right.
And they pull all the wires. And, Red says to him, you really shouldn't leave your hood open while you're in the convenience store. But you never saw that. You only saw Jeff with the oil.
You never saw him in the gas station.
Right.
And then Amy comes out and has all the supplies. So
right.
What did he do in there?
Yeah, exactly. And he says, like, what'd you get? Like, you were in there with, so, okay, it's fine, whatever. But that is one little thing that,
The wires were also underneath the car, not in the hood.
I know.
So he had no reason to keep the hood open to begin.
And I mean, we could have, if we really wanted to get deep into it, maybe we could look at, like, can you do that to a Jeep? Like, is it a Jeep? What are they driving? Like a Cherokee?
It looks like a Jeep Cherokee, yeah.
Can you really do that? Are the wires really just under there that you pull apart?
But I don't think so.
Yeah, who cares?
Those wires are underneath the carriage. One bad speed bump or a couple of rocks, and all of a sudden you're cutting those wires out.
Yeah.
Those wires are absolutely inside. The one thing I did like about the Jeep Grand Cherokee is the hood had the light on it. I've never seen that before.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was like cut out of the hood. The little cloth on the top of the hood had a light coming down so you could see.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, that's cool. I did notice also about the Jeep Grand Cherokee is it's a Jeep Grand Cherokee, 1996 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo ZJ.
What's funny is that when we do all these movies, any movie, especially with the movie, a lot of movies with guns, and I look up the notes on I'll look up them on IMDb Pro or Wikipedia or wherever I can find them. But like on IMDb Pro, there's some kind of people like really telling me what style of gun people use or what car they're driving. Like I could care less. Like it's like, oh, it's the Model 4. I'm like, oh, and like I don't understand the predilection to that.
Red's truck is a Peterbilt 377.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, it's a truck. It's a giant truck.
Well, the thing with the Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo is when Jeff's running away from Earl in the scene at the quarry, it really seems like an advertisement for the Jeep Grand Cherokee. I'm like, it goes down the hill, it goes up, it goes all the way down.
It doesn't it doesn't last the water though.
That's what. As soon as it hit the water, I had a note. If you want a real off-road experience, go Jeep Grand Cherokee. It'll get you where you want to go. It's like a whole thing, and it hits the water. I'm like, my next note is, tell me it's a boat now. Tell me it's amphibious. And then it crashes against the rocks and sinks. And I was like, oh, thank God.
I got worried that it was. And then I started looking for the exhaust pipe to be up the top. But I was like, okay, no, we're good.
I was like waiting for it to hit the shore and him start driving off again. And I was like, no friggin' way. Come on. I've been rambling on enough. Let's stop. Take a pause.
Yep.
Listen to some sponsors. And I'm going to drink some coffee while our sponsors start.
All right. I'll do it.
Do you experience digital eye strain from too much blue light exposure from digital screens? Baxter Blue glasses are not your average frames. These blue light lenses filter 80% of the highest energy blue light, eliminating 99% of glare. The past year, we have all been glued to our devices more than ever. I know I have. At work, I'm staring at a computer screen. I come home, I either play a video game or I'm working on podcasts where I'm staring at more screens. Our exposure to digital light has soared, and our eyes and our sleep are suffering as a result. Baxter Blue is also a force for good and provides a pair of reading glasses for someone in need for every pair sold. This is eyewear built for our digital age, and Baxter Blue is giving our listeners 10% off your next purchase of blue light, sleep, or kids glasses. Click the link in our show notes for your exclusive discount. This is the sign you have been waiting for to invest in blue light glasses. We know you will love your Baxters, and we know that you will feel the difference. Do you like the donuts? I kind of like the donut thing.
The 90 million. Well, it's
what you got 90,000.
Yeah,
you're some donut king.
Yeah, which is I think that's good. That works.
That's clever. Yeah,
and they have the donut package at the end floating in the water, but that's like a quick 2-3 lines, and it's done in a way where you don't really expect that to be a plot device later.
Right.
On,
yeah.
You know what I mean? So no. I think that, but that also tells you that these two are smart. They both think on their feet.
Right.
Even though Kathleen Quinlan's character Amy doesn't really do a lot much in this movie except hide. But whatever. But
she's kidnapped.
I know. I get it.
I mean, she kills Red.
That's true. I love that. Yeah, I always love that because it's just like. So go ahead. Why don't you just tell what
at the end of the movie,
spoiler alert.
Red has driven his truck dangle off the highway, and Jeff and Red are fighting over it, and Jeff's able to kick Red onto the quarry or the rocks below in the lake.
Well, he's hitting him with that chain.
With the chain, he gets.
And I love that moment because he grabs a chain and Red's like, oh, and then he just pulls him over.
The close up of Kurt's eyes are just awesome. Just like, fuck you, asshole. I just like, that's such a great close up.
Yeah.
And he pulls Red down and it hits the rocks, and they think he's dead. And then they show a shot of Red kind of like moving again, like, oh, he's not completely dead. Next shot is just Kathleen Quinlan's character putting the truck in neutral and letting it go and just smash Red till he's nothing.
Yeah,
that's just like, yes.
I think that's the other thing I like about this movie is, and there is some hesitation in terms of Jeff's character to whether he's going to commit kill somebody or hit somebody or hurt somebody. There's some slightly, but like once they take his wife and once he needs to try to get her back, and it's almost like screw this, no, I'm getting her, I don't care how. I like that because that's the reaction that you all wish everyone else would have.
Yes,
in terms, you know what I mean, you wish that if something happened you'd be able to act and act swiftly and not really concern yourself with the morality. I mean, sure, maybe it's a different movie. The sequel would be Breakdown 2 where he's in therapy and he has to rectify the fact of what he did. But because there is some questions like, does the cop die? If the cop doesn't die,
I don't think the cop's dying.
It's just whatever, because the cop gets shot and he gets shot in the neck and then he leaves him there.
Or he gets shot in the shoulder.
And it's through and through.
No, it's like,
okay, because he was grabbing his neck. Whatever. There was some issue. There was some concern whether he was going to survive.
You got to save your wife first and foremost. The cop's
he doesn't know that though. He has no idea about that. All he's coming up upon is Kurt beating the crap out of this guy in the car.
No, I'm saying Kurt leaving the cop.
Oh no,
there.
I got you.
I I really don't think I'd have any hesitation. Like,
I got to what you like to think you'd hope you wouldn't.
what? Right. But that's the whole thing is he's not Meek. If you have a Meek, you have this loser character like Kyle MacLachlan in Trigger Effect, and it becomes
there we go.
that becomes the movie. That now becomes your theme. That now becomes as soon as you put that in there, that becomes something for your protagonist to overcome, or something that's going to hinder your protagonist, like his own, like a mental antagonist. He's his own antagonist as well.
Well, I think the Trigger Effect deals with what we talked about, or what I pondered before, the external conflict versus internal conflict, like you just said.
Yeah.
Like that's the movie. That's it's about his character.
Right.
When civilization goes down, how do you respond? I mean, so, and you especially voiced your displeasure with Kyle MacLachlan in that film in terms of his actions, and his behaviors. But in this movie, I think this is what we want.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're very similar movies. And I think that Jeff is the character that I think we wanted Kyle MacLachlan to be in the movie, or Kyle MacLachlan to become.
Right. You don't think I can't picture Jeff's character going back to his house, sitting on his front porch and just like, sitting there, like staring off at, I can't picture that at all. I picture him getting up like, all right, let's go. We're going out to eat tonight.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Right. I took care of business like that. Kind of.
I guess the movie had a different ending originally. That added scene, which I'm glad they cut. Where I guess they're back at the barn answering questions to the FBI, and she just jokes, "Next time we're flying."
Yeah.
And then the movie cuts, and that's such a cheesy early '90s type like Die Hard ending, and it really doesn't fit. With the movie, so I'm glad they
there's none of that stuff in the movie,
right?
So yeah, it wouldn't have made sense. Like they're all laughing, and then freeze frames them laughing. Yeah. Hands away, helicopter shot away, and everyone gets thin because it's been formatted to screen.
There are a couple of nice shots in this movie, though. I like although it kind of has this weird blurry jump to it, the pan out at the end when they're on the bridge holding each other.
Yeah,
is nice. But I really like the scene after Jeff visits the Bell's Diner the second time, and he's super confused, and he's already checked the food slips, and he leaves, and he's looking out, and there's no one around, and he's in the desert, and it's a close on Jeff, and then it kind of pans out and I guess cranes up a little bit, and it shows the one palm tree in the diner, and it just kind of slowly leaves Jeff, and the music of the diner slowly fades away into nothing, and all you hear is wind. I think that's a fantastic. I loved that shot for some reason. I was like, that's a great shot. It really shows his desperation and the silence that's around him.
One of the shots I didn't like was when the cop is looking in the cab in the beginning, when he pulls the cop over and says, "Hey, look in the cab, look in the cab. My wife took my wife," and then the cop goes in the cab, and it turns to this POV handheld shot of him looking in the cab.
Yeah, it goes
and it's shaky as all heck. And I'm just like, why is this so shaky? Like, it's just bad.
Their film cameras were probably so big. It was probably, they probably didn't have any like handhelds or something smaller. So they're probably trying to use a huge camera and try to steady it as they.
It was like, it wasn't like it wasn't like it was shaky in terms of like, you can tell like it was handheld shaky. It was shaky like somebody was deliberately shaking the camera like they did in Saving Private Ryan when they had the drill.
See, I didn't notice it being that bad.
It was out of place. Maybe that's the best thing. My best description. It didn't look anything else like in the movie. That shot, that handheld shot, it looked completely different. Which kind of was just like, oh, what was that? But that's what it was. MC Gainey, who plays Earl, says this is the darkest character he's ever played in a film, and he regretted it afterwards.
I saw that. You don't do anything, dude.
I don't understand. I mean, you chose the character because what? Because you're a bad guy in the movie?
I think this movie definitely doesn't put Southern people in a great light.
Well, I don't think they're Southern. I think they're Midwestern.
Well, Earl is definitely
Midwestern.
Earl plays him like
this is New Mexico,
full accent and everything, though. I don't know.
Well, that might be his. I think that's his accent.
No, he's from Missouri. I mean, he's from the South. But I think maybe he looked at it and went, I just seemed like a redneck.
No,
maybe he didn't like
nobody in that diner or bar looked like they were nice at all. Like they looked like
not even the old guy at the bar was like, "Want to check the bathroom?"
Yeah, I'll be with you in a second, hon. Like, what is this?
Yeah, like, ugh.
Is anybody nice here?
No.
Yeah.
Don't go to New Mexico. But Earl was so he's got Texas plates on his truck.
Well, okay.
Yeah,
but he's still in New Mexico.
Yeah, that's because that confused me at one point. I was like, I thought they were in like
I think
Mexico or Arizona or something. And
they might have shot in Texas too. I'm not sure. I didn't even look at that. I should have looked that up.
Mm-hmm.
That's terrible. That's a terrible research and background for this.
I don't think you needed it, but okay. I like to see when he's in the bank.
Yep.
And you don't know what he's going to do, and he's panicking, and I don't think he knows what he's going to do. I thought that scene was really good, and he tries to tell the bank manager.
Yeah.
And then the other guy comes out. You're the guy I could talk to about a car loan.
But he's not like he's worried that he doesn't know.
He's spying because he thinks he's got eyes all over town.
Which Red is lying to him.
Yep.
Yep.
And he's just like, the bank manager wants to know what the rest of the thing is, and then he doesn't tell him.
Yeah.
And then he goes into the restroom, and you think, oh, he's going to rob the place. He's going to act like it's a gun. You don't know what he's going to do.
Right. Did he use a letter opener? He does.
He ends up using a letter opener to get Earl. During that whole scene, I was like, oh, he's robbing that bank. He's going to get in so much trouble.
I thought that too, yeah.
Yeah.
But then, I mean...
He's pretty clever about the money wraps, too, because I was like, what the hell is he taking the money wraps?
But at some point, he'd be like, listen, can I get it all ones? Like, they're probably like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, clear out, because we work at the theater. Sometimes we have to go get changed. They're not giving that many ones.
No, I know. They're
a bank that small.
Yeah, they get mad. They get mad when we want like just 100 ones.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You 5,000 in singles. That is all.
You gotta warn us next time so we can have it here.
Yeah.
Shut up.
Banks don't got a lot of cash.
Well, this is 97 though, so maybe those have changed to now.
Well, yeah, but I'm also thinking it's a small town bank too.
True. It is a town. Like when he looks over the town and you look down, it's just like, Jesus, that's it.
You'll never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. It's like a Tatooine town. It's like nothing around it. It's like the roads go through the town. You got to wonder, why the hell is there a town there?
Do you like when Jeff stumbles upon Red on the phone at the truck stop? He goes there because he's trying to find Red. He's trying to find the truck.
Okay, yep.
And then he just and Red's on the phone. Do you like that? Because that is kind of like a, whoa, lucky break here.
He's got to find him either way for the story.
Sure.
So, I mean, on the phone, not on the phone, it's fine.
Do you like it like that?
I prefer him bumping into him than being like, yes, I've got you now. Being more like happenstance, being like, oh shit, I almost messed it up.
Right.
Because that's more real person and less like James Bond spy.
Okay. All right.
The one thing I didn't like is he's real out of, like the cops are all there and he's looking under trucks and being real suspicious.
Yeah.
I'd be like, excuse me, sir, come on this way. He looks like he's waiting to rob.
But you don't know what the cops are looking for. Like you don't know.
I don't think they're looking for anything. I think they just happen. It's a big truck stop, so there's cops.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think he looks real suspicious looking under all those trucks and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He's pretty smart most of the movie. I think he should have played it cool and not looked under. What would looking under truck really do?
Well, I mean, the whole movie is tense. Like
right.
The whole movie, as soon as he realizes that his wife's gone. The whole movie just kind of like doesn't stop. It's you're just like, oh my God, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? What's going to happen?
Right.
So, even, and in the fact, when he thinks that his wife is dead, when they take her out of the little compartment.
Oh, in the freezer. And then she moves.
Yeah. So, I mean, so the whole movie is extremely just kind of, you're on, not on the edge of the seat. You are, I guess that's a good way to say it. You're on the edge of your seat, kind of trying to figure out, along with him.
Oh yeah. They could totally have the same, his wife could absolutely die in this movie. And it would fit kind of the genre of the film.
Right.
And just turn into a revenge film. And it would have totally fit. And so I think not knowing whether she's alive or dead really works. Like when she's all wrapped up.
Right.
Like, oh, I guess she's dead. That's like, they wouldn't kill her. And then you're thinking, oh, would they? Because then it becomes a revenge thing. Well, they might.
They've killed them. They've killed before. All those people.
Oh, I know. But she's like, I mean, movie wise, it's like, would they kill his character's wife? And it's like,
but
maybe.
then that would fit. And that also begs the question that, like, okay, so what do they do with all these people that they kill? Like, where do they go?
Well, they're in the middle of nowhere. They just bury them in the barn.
But then that's the thing. Everyone's always missing. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah. I'm wondering if the ending, when you said that the ending that they're at the barn talking to the FBI, I wonder if they're like, they've got graves dug up everywhere or something.
Oh,
like
maybe.
That,
yeah.
I mean, if they're stupid enough to leave all their belongings in.
And the license plates, especially. Yeah.
Yeah. You would think that maybe they're dumb enough to bury them there too.
Yep.
Did you notice the scene when Red tells him when they're looking down, he tells him to go to the bank, and Red says to him, 49 minutes, Jeff, time to get the show on the road, that the movie is exactly 49 minutes to the end from that point?
I didn't know that until I read that note.
Yeah. I was like, oh, interesting.
I wonder if that's on purpose or was just a happy accident.
Well, I think that if this movie's any longer, like 10, 15 minutes longer, I don't think we're probably looking favorably on the movie as much as we are now, because I think it needs to be a quick movie. And
no, absolutely. It moves. Yeah.
Nice. It's got good action at the end with the stunt work when they're all in the cars and the trucks and the.
I really like that you get that last chase scene. It's really cool. Although the car does flip over and just explode for no reason. Guys, like classic. And he doesn't pit maneuver anybody for a while, but then he does, and I'm like, oh, fucking finally! Like, you're in a huge truck. put your brake on and hit them in the trunk a little bit, and they'll all spin around.
Yeah.
It always makes me mad in movies when no one pit maneuvers anybody on a chase. Have you not watched any cop chases ever? But it earns that action scene at the end. There's no real like action. Obviously there's the fuck you and the mash in his face, but there's no action until that last 5-minute set piece, and it earns it. And I like it a lot.
And that you're talking from the start of when they leave the barn.
When they leave the barn and Red gets in his semi and starts plowing through everything.
That double wide or whatever, that trailer, who lives there?
That's probably Red's like man cave. Yeah. Or maybe Billy lives there.
Yeah, like whose truck was that they took? Like there's no, but whatever. Okay, fine. We're into, at that point we're invested. Like, hey, get out anytime you can.
Yeah.
So we're invested there. So that's fine.
I also like that he doesn't forget about Billy. So often in those kind of films, you see him go and you're like, oh, he's gone. But like his character's not stupid. So Kurt actually tells us there's still one more out there. So often he would be like, oh, I forgot about this guy. And like he'll hold somebody hostage.
Yeah.
But he knew Billy was out there. I was a little pissed he didn't go hunting for Billy. Yeah. If he just waited for Billy to go back and save Red, he would have dealt with one person instead of 5.
And I think that goes back to not having, not really concerning yourself with a character that's struggling in and of itself, the internal conflict, like I talked about. Right. I think that's, no, he's smart. He's got a good head on his shoulders, and maybe these guys underestimated that. You know what I mean? Like,
for sure. Yeah.
So
he's just some city yokel. He's not he's not a tough guy.
Look, when Earl's telling him, you deserve it, flashing with your Massachusetts plates and your fancy new car. It's like, all right.
You were asking for it. Just because Kurt's not looking for a fight doesn't mean like he won't fight for something.
Yeah. Which is nice. Again, this is a character that when you watch it, this is how you hope that you would react in a situation like this. Hopefully if it ever, unfortunately, if it ever happened to you, it's not like you're watching somebody struggle through it. You know what I mean?
Should I do this? Should I hurt somebody?
It would piss you off. It would definitely tick you off, because at some point you're like, do something. You know what I mean? Like you have to stand up, like something like that. And I think, let's be honest, like that kind of trope, maybe that conflict, that internal conflict, I think we've seen it a lot more than we've seen something like this, maybe. And, and maybe because there's always that, like, well, we got to do something. We got to give him something to do. It's like, you can do a movie like Breakdown and do it well. You just have to make sure you know what you're doing, and you know the story you're telling.
Don't make your everyman character an action hero, but you can still make him a man of action,
right?
And not a man of trepidation and fear, because I think most people for their would fight for their family.
You'd hope so.
Would fail maybe,
yes,
but fight for them,
right?
Maybe be an idiot about it, but they would do something.
And a lot of these type of stories actually probably more fall into the horror genre a little bit more. So to have this as a straight action thriller is a little bit also of a difference maker in terms of the type of story you get. Usually you don't get this type of story unless it's like The Hills Have Eyes or a horror movie where, you have unspeakable evil that you have to go up against.
Well, that's why when she was in the bags and the rags and they're like, oh, she's dead, she's suffocated, I thought the movie was going to suddenly shift.
Right.
And I do like films when they suddenly shift in tone and you think it's one movie and it turns into something else. But I did anticipate it becoming more of a horror revenge, like a revenge horror movie, like Last House on the Left, as soon as that happened.
Right.
Which would have been cool too, but would have been a very different movie.
Right.
Right.
And I think, all the deaths of the quote unquote bad guys are really deaths that occur because they're in the pursuit of the good guys.
Right.
So you're not really like, it's never something deliberate, with the exception of the end. But see, that moment is earned because it's like they've gotten through all this stuff. It's like everybody in that audience is like, yeah, drop the truck on them. Like, you know what I mean? Like they want that. So like that. So that kind of death where your protagonist straight up just murders somebody, you know what I mean? Like, it's like that stuff is earned through something like this movie where you have gone along the ride with these people, with these protagonists, and you're just like, yes, please put the truck in neutral. Please drop it on this dude. We're tired of this guy already. He needs to go. So I think that also is well done. There's a this movie is probably a big reason why Jonathan Mostow was able to move on and do a lot of like U-571 and Terminator 3.
That's absolutely how we got him, Terminator.
Well, Terminator was after U-571, I believe.
Right, but I mean, this one's got like the car chase and stuff.
No, I get you.
And I think
All
that's
that
kind of
yeah.
like you earned, like a Terminator has to have a big car chase.
Right.
And like this has that. So it's like, all right, you know how to do that.
So with the exception of this movie came up against Austin Powers International Man of Mystery, why do you think this movie was forgotten? This is a straight up summer film, but why do you think this movie was forgotten?
Well, I think it happens to be part of, and we're going to talk about it later on a different segment.
Well, we can tease that.
A large genre of film that runs the gamut. But like you said, I think it was mostly horror. And I think that is why this is maybe forgotten, because I think a lot of people that like these kind of films prefer it a little bit more horror oriented.
True.
And this is much more mystery thriller.
Action.
It's action toward the end, earned action.
I think you're getting a little extra of a bump if you kind of have horror elements, maybe. But I don't know necessarily that's gonna, like, it made $50 million, so I wouldn't say that this is not a hit. And I'm curious what like DVD and home box office sales at this point are like for this movie.
Right, it's probably good. It's probably made a bunch on rentals and stuff.
Well,
like that.
here's the thing: it was available, like we could get it. It's on Paramount Plus, but
Yeah, I
you could
stupidly
rent
rented
it. I know, idiot. You could rent it other places, which shows you that it does have people do want to see it. And Kurt Russell probably plays well.
Oh,
overseas
absolutely.
as well, yeah.
But I think maybe also Kurt Russell's the reason it's forgotten.
Really? Why?
Kurt Russell's great,
Yes.
but I don't think he's given, and we've talked about it before, he is not giving anywhere near the amount of respect and credit that he's deserved.
Right.
I think in terms of action stars, he's kind of forgotten about sometimes. And it's like, he's fantastic, but the movie would have done better if these actors had portrayed him. Dennis Quaid, Bruce Willis, Mel Gibson, Richard Gere. Ed Harris was also up for the role of Jeff, but I don't think the movie would have done as well if it was Ed Harris. But I think Quaid, Willis, Gibson, or Gere, the movie would have fared better.
See, here's
I don't think it would have been better.
Here's my problem with that. Willis and Gibson are larger than life, and I've already seen them in action films like Die Hard and Lethal Weapon,
Right.
where I would expect it out of them. You know, that I would, that, you know what I mean? It's inherent to seeing them in other movies where I'm like, oh yeah, they're gonna fuck some shit up. I would expect it.
But they also are people, Gibson and Willis especially, are people that have played regular people before and played them well,
but
not as well as maybe
But
Kurt.
it doesn't matter. I mean, I get what you're saying, but like Bruce Willis is in arguably the greatest action movie of all time.
Kurt Russell has already been the Universal Soldier and Cash at this point.
But see that, but again, that goes to Kurt Russell's, as you agree,
Right.
goes to his ability as an actor where he can play this everyman. Like you can't.
Oh, sure.
Can you see Mel Gibson or Bruce Willis just playing an everyman dad in a movie without it being some kind of action movie or
Back in the day, yes.
what
now?
movie?
No. Well, Mel Gibson had a string of movies like Forever Young, The Man with No Face, where he played like regular sympathetic people in dramas. It's not like he can't play regular people.
I'm not saying he can't, but I'm saying like, okay, let's say Kurt Russell's in a movie that
Bruce Willis cut his teeth doing like comedy roles and being the
no, okay,
never guy.
then maybe I'm framing it the wrong way.
I think also you're thinking of Bruce Willis in terms of dead Bruce Willis now. Cold, dead, soulless Bruce Willis.
no.
Because you got to look at Bruce
Paycheck.
Willis as two different
Paycheck
people.
Bruce.
Yes.
No. I'm framing it the wrong way. Kurt Russell has not had a role that is synonymous with his name. Yes, he's Jake Plissken, but that is such a different character.
For sure.
Die Hard, John McClane. Yes, he's a cop, but he's an everyman cop.
Yes.
Lethal Weapon, Mel Gibson. Again, he's a cop, but throughout the four Lethal Weapons, they kind of civilize him. So
Yeah,
he becomes that everyman cop, but he is a superhero cop.
Oh, he is the Lethal Weapon. That's the point.
But he's been in, that's 4 Lethal Weapon movies. That's 5 Die Hard films. Well, let's just say 3 at this point, up until 97.
Right.
Kurt Russell is not in a movie where he is like that character where he's been in like 3 or 4 sequels.
True.
You know what I mean? Where he is a larger than life regular Joe. So I'm saying that there is the weight of the other roles for Willis and Gibson for me would lead me, if I saw him in this movie, would lead me to believe like, oh, he's gonna mess some shit up here. Okay, fine, let's go. I'm just waiting for it. Whereas in this one, I am right alongside the Jeff character with Kurt Russell.
Sure.
Because I feel like, oh, I could be me. You know what I mean? I could be that. If I saw Bruce Willis and Mel Gibson in that role, I would be like, no, that's not me. That's some like hyper version of something else.
Listen, I don't disagree with anything you're saying.
I know
I'm just saying I think it would be a more successful movie.
Oh, you're saying it'll make more money?
Yeah. Like you're arguing against something that I agree with everything you're saying right now.
I'm not arguing. I'm just saying
I can see them in this role and the movie doing better. I'm not saying it would be a better movie. It would be a worse movie.
Well, then we wouldn't be talking about it. There's movies.
It could still be a decent movie. It just wouldn't be as good.
But
it might be a movie you'd be like, I remember watching this night. It was all right.
Yeah, it would be forgettable. Oh. But it wouldn't be forgettable where I'm like, hey, we need to talk about this again.
Right, but what about Dennis Quaid? Although Dennis Quaid's not a huge draw either. So
yeah, but I could see Dennis Quaid.
I could see Dennis Quaid.
But Dennis Quaid is too. What's the word? I mean, like I've seen him in this kind of stuff. I guess Switchback isn't really like that, and he's the bad guy in Switchback, right? No, he's not the bad guy in Switchback, is he?
I don't think so.
Is Danny Glover in that?
I'm on it. Danny Glover. No, Danny Glover's listed first, so Dennis Quaid might be the bad guy.
I think that Danny Glover's the bad guy in that.
Really?
I think that Mel Gibson works for the Train. I might be mixing it up with the Denzel Washington Train movie.
Yeah, there's no Mel Gibson.
What?
Oh, you mean Dennis Quaid?
I meant Dennis Quaid. I'm sorry.
You're right. Dennis Quaid is the good guy. I
Yeah.
just read the synopsis. Yeah.
But what's the Denzel Washington movie where he's on the train?
Pelham? Taking a Pelham?
No,
1, 2, 3?
when he's
Oh. Well, I don't remember. That movie wasn't me.
Is Chris Pine the bad guy in that?
Yes.
Wow, I can't believe I remember that.
I can't believe you remember that. No, wait, Chris Pine's his partner.
I have no idea. I
They're
can't
buddies.
remember.
That's not a good movie. It's not a bad movie, but it's super forgettable.
Yeah. All right. So, anyways, what were we saying? I could see Richard Gere in this role, but he's too old. Well, no, he's too old now.
He just went gray early. He wasn't too old to do this role,
Yeah, I
but
could see him in this movie.
he always plays someone meek, though. I feel like when he's the regular guy, or he's always more like soft spoken.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. He's never really been in an action movie. You can't really count The Day of the Jackal.
Day of the Jackal,
But that's not really.
but he was more the brains of the terrorist of the IRA. He wasn't
Yeah.
really that.
Yeah.
And then
He's the bad guy in The Day of the Jackal. Bruce Willis is.
no, but he was part of the IRA.
Oh, right,
That's
right.
the thing.
Okay,
And then he was Lancelot, but that's a medieval movie, so that's completely different.
yeah. Yeah. No, I see you. I hear what you're saying. So
Yeah, I
anyways.
think that maybe that's why it was forgotten, and maybe people are looking for this kind of movie to be horror.
And like you said, this what we just talked about, like this movie dives into the horror genre. So we're doing a little something different this week. I think in a couple days, right? When did we say they're going to put them? Come on Friday?
Sure.
I don't know. So in a couple of days, you're gonna have a bonus episode. We wanted to do this movie is in it. It almost has this genre in and of itself in terms of the road thriller movie.
Yep.
And some of them dive into horror. So we're gonna do a little bonus episode where we talk about maybe for like 20-25 minutes other movies in this vein that kind of evoke, like when we watch Breakdown, you immediately think of Duel. This Spielberg movie, we're just going to kind of go through a little bit of some of them and just kind of like, I don't know, break them down. Just, I don't know, probably not really in reference to this movie, but just kind of talk about a few other movies that
what makes the genre.
I guess. Yeah, exactly. So that's what we're going to do. That'll be in a couple of days. Mike, where can they find us?
You can find us at ForgottenCinemaPodcast.com or ForgottenEntertainment.com, as we are part of the Forgotten Entertainment family. You can also find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at Forgotten Cinema or Forgotten Cinema Pod, depending on where you go. We post things every day of the week. We're always willing and able to comment on your stuff. Well, Mike Field is usually. But let us know what you think of the movie that we're doing, or
I'm willing to
let us
comment
know
on your stuff.
or let us know what you want us to cover. We might not get to it right away, but we'll definitely put it on our list to do at some point. And yeah, we post awesome commercials every Thursday. And like Field said, we're going to start doing compendium episodes, talking about different stuff,
yeah.
or having interviews.
We'll try to keep up with it.
A couple, at least for every other episode, or maybe every episode.
We'll try if we can come up with it. Well, it's a new thing, so don't hold us to it. There's always a new episode every Wednesday. But we're just not
Yes.
sure about the bonus ones.
So yeah, that's all I got.
All right. So, and then you can join us next week. Forgotten Cinema rolls on.
Ooh.
I believe you got upset because we're in the same year, I think.
We're always in the same. We did not space these.
Oh,
out.
no, we're in 1995. We're
Oh,
2 years
got it.
early.
All right.
We're going to be watching a movie that Mike has always wanted to see and never has, and I have. We're watching the Russell Crowe, Denzel Washington movie, Virtuosity.
Yes.
So we'll see how Mike thinks of that.
Every time I used to watch Demolition Man, that was the trailer before the movie on the VHS, and I was like, why haven't I seen this movie? It looks cool.
Russell Crowe's the bad guy.
I know. I'm interested.
I know, and he can turn glass into stuff or something. I can't
Something like
remember.
that.
Yeah.
The special effects are in the trailer.
All the
a
thing I
little
remember right now is when he's at the at the train and he's got his broken hand, and he's like, it's forming a new hand.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, get ready.
All
Get ready
right.
for 90s effects.
Yes, can't wait.
All right, that's next week, Virtuosity, as our Forgotten Summer season goes on. Hopefully in a couple days, or if whenever you listen to this, try to find our bonus episode where we talk about road thrillers and the genre that Breakdown might be in. That's it. I am Mike Field.
No, I'm Mike Butler.
This has been Forgotten Cinema.